Hello there, I'm Isaiah, for those of you who don't know me, and today we're going to be looking at Sakana Fugu. So, this is basically a wrapper around other frontier level LLMs, or large language models, that then acts as a single unified API or model itself. And the reason this one caught my attention, we can scroll down a little bit and we should see it, is the quite impressive benchmarks when compared against some of the other leading models of today, including Fable, despite its lack of access tragically today, Gemini 3.1, GPT-5.5, and it looks like some of these include Opus 4.8, of course, from Anthropic. So yeah, this really caught my eye on X yesterday, just seeing that there was something available that was from a lab I'd never heard of before and competitive with all these other frontier models of today. Anyway, so without further ado, I always like to show a bit of the pricing info before I get too deep into things. So as you can see, here is the pay-as-you-go plan for at least the most recent version of Fugu Ultra. There's two basic models or available options for Fugu, which is just Fugu or Fugu Ultra. Both of these plans allow you to use these, and you can use these in combination. So far, I've just signed up for the standard subscription-based plan, which is $20 a month. And it looks like they give you 1 month free after that initial $20 a month, and then it's basically metered usage. So I'll show you a bit of my usage as we go, and we can dive in. Unfortunately, for anyone looking for just a more chat GPT-like experience, this does not provide that just yet. Hopefully it will in the future. But what we actually get is more of, this is just my usage so far, we'll get a little more into that. What we actually get instead is a more API-based usage, and you can create as many API keys as you want. Something I thought was interesting is you select a toggle between subscription or pay-as-you-go. So it's an interesting gotcha that if you want to use it through the subscription you're paying for, you choose this and you can toggle that between the two later. Or if you want to pay just for the usage, then you would choose that, of course. And yeah, something to highlight here is if we look at model pool, then we can see that by default, it's using GPT, Claude, and Gemini models all under the hood and intelligently routing or combining responses from all of them. Anyway, that being said, if we look under how to use it, overview, that's not where I found that. Looks like, there we go. Under, not quite either. All right, so if we look at, let me pause 1 moment and find you where I found the usage, and then we'll look deeper into this. There we go. So you're still getting used to their interface and their docs, but step 1 would be you would decide whether you wanted a subscription plan, which I have right now, a pay-as-you-go plan, or both. Their billing is done through Stripe, so should be secure. And as you can see, they basically have some decent usage limits, both a 5-hour, this is a hack, there we go, a reset every 5 hour, and then a weekly reset of capacity. And this is just with a few prompts to Fugu, the base model, not the Ultra model that I've used. So I'd say $20 isn't getting you a huge amount of usage, but to test it out, it's a good starting place. Anyway, so Get Started is the place once you've generated your API key and signed up for some kind of payment plan. Sadly, there's no free way to test it. That being said, Sakana has a different product powered by a different model, which is just a basic chat GPT-like experience. But that being said, it's definitely a less powerful model, so you're not really getting a comparable comparison. Anyway, let's keep going. So if we look at Get Started, we can see the primary way that we use it is via, I think I saw this somewhere, an open AI SDK like completion. So I remember seeing it somewhere along here. They might have changed the docs for me a little since last time I was here, but basically, there we go. Basically, we can see this is an endpoint that works just like any other OpenAI compatible model, in that anywhere you can call basically an OpenAI compatible API, you can also call Fugu instead by providing your API key. Or we could do this manually. So for me, I've already went ahead and configured it, but I'll provide a couple pointers for how you might do this yourself. So the app I grabbed myself off the web was called Chatbox. You can see it's an interesting one where technically this is also a paid product, but you can actually use the routing capabilities of this to a model that you're paying for without subscribing to Chatbox as well. And there should be plenty of other options. Basically, I would just type something like OpenAI compatible chat interface, something like that. And basically, you should get plenty of options. But this is just something I found that was quick and easy to download. So without further ado, let's actually see this in action, see it do something. And we're just gonna grab the Chatbox app, which I already set up. So I configured Fugu and Fugu Ultra. It looked like there's an even more recent version of Ultra they released. If we look at, interesting, it's not listed on here, but there is a more recent one. But that's fine. Anyway, we're using the Ultra tier. That should be plenty to test it out. And I will give up on finding this in a moment. Let's see. Fugu Ultra. There we go. 2026 0615. So if we want the latest, I suppose we can do this. You can see a little bit of my configuration settings, where if we go into this and settings and model provider, you can see it's an OpenAI style provider. There's my API key, hidden of course for now. And there I just pasted in the OpenAI just right out of that get started doc API endpoint. So let's see if this will work out. Just call it the model ID. We'll paste it in here. Again, all the OpenAI wrapper tools you'll use will have a slightly different interface. But yeah, why not use the latest and see what we get. And yeah, this is just the setup that they do, where they are probably making a couple calls to it behind the hood just to test that it works. So we'll save that, get out, and we should be able to switch to that new model now. Same model, just a newer version appears. So I have a prompt I like to try new models with, which essentially is an experiment in doing a drag and drop interactive experience on the web. That being said, I'm going to modify this a little bit because I want something I can just run right away, where typically I go with this, a little drag and drop mini game where you build sandwiches, and has some functionality like Duolingo's drag and drop, which is, I would say, pretty robust in my opinion. But I'm just going to take this off, this part of using React and TypeScript and not a bundler. I'm just going to say, build it as a single page HTML file with JavaScript, and it should be runnable from just that file in a browser. And let's see how we do. So it'll definitely take a minute because again, under the hood it is calling other models, as we saw. And I think this is just a system prompt from Chatbox, which I did not customize yet. We could always do that, but not strictly necessary for something like this. That's what I want to say. You are a senior engineer building a sandwich drag and drop game. So let's think for a minute. This is definitely a sign it's working. Otherwise, it would have just errored out right away. And yeah, for your entertainment or lack of boredom, I'm going to pause for a minute and I'll resume the video once it's done thinking. So I'm sad to report that so far Fugu Ultra, this 2026 0615 or June 15th model, hasn't finished working. I'll check it one more time before I proceed, just for sanity's sake. Doesn't look like it has, so let's try opening a new chat here and just using regular Fugu Ultra, whatever the difference there may be. And for the heck of it, why don't we customize the system prompt? Just for entertainment's sake, we'll say you are a senior front-end JavaScript engineer. Why not? And let's just try this out. And I'll keep the other one running, and we can see if it somehow did better with a worse system prompt, or maybe it just takes forever to think in general. You never know. You never know. It is calling other models, so there's every chance that this one will return correctly. And we can see it started thinking. Let's see. And I will pause again, and if we ever get a result, I'll be right back with you. Okay, so finally, after what I believe was about 30-ish minutes, maybe I'm miscounting a little, the first one, the new version of Fugu Ultra, has returned. Looks like second one we kicked off is still working, but good enough. And yeah, let's just put this right into a hosting thing so anyone else can try it after I upload this video. So I just stumbled onto static.app. Looks like I can host stuff for free on here. That's great as far as I can tell. And let's just drag and drop. Okay, interesting. So we have to actually make an index.html file. That's fine. No problem. We'll get on that. So just make cd into my workspace. Fugu Ultra demos. And let's touch this. And we'll call it Fugu Ultra new model demo.html. Amazing name. And then we'll edit that. We'll just paste in the code. Thinking of it, certainly wrote some code. That is a good bit of code there. Okay, and let's add in this. Let's see, does it have to be, has to be a zip archive. Interesting. So be it. Well, we'll work with them. All right, let me just zip this up and I'll put it in there. So, actually, I think I should name it index. Otherwise, it probably won't zip right. Okay. So rename the file to index, and let's see how we go. So we'll go to our demo and the zip, and let's see how this works. We'll just call it Fugu Ultra new model demo. And that should be plenty. Let's see, I've never used the site before, so we'll hope that our magnetic crocodile works. Great, where is my link? Interesting, we created it. But how do I actually get to it? I'd love to do that. Interesting. Okay, looks like magnetic crocodile is our domain. And seriously. I'm not. There we go. That was more painful, I feel like, than it needed to be. But so be it. This honestly looks pretty good. Let's see if it actually works, as is always the question. But let's try dragging. Okay, definitely drag it. See if we can drag something under that. Yes. We drag it between. Terrible sandwich, of course. Yes. And we chose some interesting emojis. Okay, can we reorder them? That's not working great. Okay. Missed the plate, sure. Interesting. So it looks like this, no. Say drag and drop kind of works on reordering, but not great. Sure. And okay, let's actually try to play the game. Looks like we can click to unselect. That's great. So now we'll start with our bottom bun, lettuce, tomato, cheese, turkey, top bun. Great. And let's say taste test. Cool. Okay, I did see it did some confetti, so that's exciting. I am not going to keep playing the game, but I will share this link in the video. So yes, unless our other model has finished building the game. Okay, it did. Interesting. And did it build the exact same game is the real question. That's what I'm curious to see. Can load it up just in here this time. Alright, looks like it built something vaguely different, but basically the same. That's interesting. Though, let's see, maybe it did better drag and drop. Actually, I think it did something more interesting here, where this is kind of more Duolingo-y in the way it's doing its weird drag and drop. And interesting. Actually, I'm going to upload this one too. But I will save you watching me upload and play it. I'm just fascinated by how it did this one. It really took the word picker prompt, I think, a little too strongly. But again, you never know what you're going to get with LLMs, so here we go. Yeah, to sum up the video, I am interested to see how long it took Fugu Ultra to work, but also reasonably impressed. I'd say this is definitely one of the more polished first passes I've done. Let's see. For example, if I test out mobile, it looks pretty responsive, and yes, it doesn't look like touch is working at all. Let's see. That's disappointing. Definitely asked it to make touch work, but so be it. Maybe this will actually work on mobile, but I highly doubt it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Last things last, I will just show that this did eat up a good third of my capacity almost. I'd already used up a little bit of capacity, but just on 2 prompts, it used up quite a lot of my 5-hour capacity, and I'm already used 13% of my weekly capacity. So that being said, I certainly wouldn't recommend the the standard tier, which is the cheapest tier for someone who actually wanted to use as their primary coding or other productivity model, but it's fun to play around with for $20, in my opinion. And something else to highlight is you can actually use it with Codex if you want that harness. So yeah, they have some instructions here on the Get Started link, which you can find from here if you sign in at console.sakana.ai. All right, now I'm really done talking. Thank you so much for watching, and you can check out the links to all this in the video description. Bye-bye.